This is We Told You So, episode 105. I'm just gonna keep going because the bullshit is still flying. For the first time since World War II, a far-right party has come in second in the German national election. The AfD, the far-right Yahtzee party that Elon Musk actually supports, came in second. And what they said as a response is that next time they'll come in first. So just so you know, even the people who went through that shit the first time with Funny Mustache Man are now having a problem with a resurgence of Yahtzees in their government. Trump fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, as well as other military officers. He also fired the Navy's top officer and Air Force Vice Chief of Staff and the Judge Advocates General of 3 service branches. His first steps, however, were to fire the Joint Chief Chairman, General Charles Brown. I wonder why he did that. I'll call it a hunch. And then minutes later, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Fox News pundit, drunk, sexual abuser, fired the Navy's top officer, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, the first woman to hold the post. And then also immediately fired the Air Force's second highest officer. Massive firings at the most senior level of the U.S. military. Because in order to consolidate his power, Orangino wants to make sure that the people at the top of the military are loyalists to him. If you spend 5 seconds reading about this, you'll know what it's the modern-day version of. Just look this up. You'll get it. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, seen here trying somehow to be dumber than Kid Rock, said on his platform that federal employees must either document their work or lose their jobs. Federal workers across the government received an email Saturday asking them to account for what they did in the past week, and he said they will lose their jobs if they don't respond. He said all federal employees will receive an email requesting what they got done last week. Anybody who does not respond, it will be taken as a resignation. However, it's hilarious because it says the emails arrived several hours after Muskrat, who is leading the Department of Government Efficiency, the DOGE, started orchestrating the mass firings of 20,000 government employees over the past month. Which is really weird because you remember like a week ago, when the White House's official statement was that Muskrat is not an employee of the DOGE and has no actual formal authority? Turns out Dumpy's walking that back and contradicting it, saying, yeah, he's in charge of the DOGE. Which is the whole reason so many people are taking him to court. Because he's not an elected official. He is a billionaire with a conflict of interest who is being allowed by the president to go in and fire thousands of people. In case you had any inkling about that, that's massively illegal. And I think it's hilarious that while Dumpy and his cronies continue to go after anyone they consider DEI, which basically means any person of color or a woman, they claim that the whole reason they're doing it is because DEI hires are people who are hired not based on their qualifications. And this person puts it perfectly. It's incredibly ironic because Trump firing a black 4-star general as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, only to name a less qualified white guy to the same job, is the reason why DEI policies exist in the first place. Because Trump is instead putting people in these positions just because they are loyal to him and not in any way based on their qualifications. That's actually what he's done with his entire cabinet. He only cares if people are loyal to him and will do whatever he says, and he doesn't give 2 shits about their qualifications. I mean, we have a fucking QAnon conspiracy theorist Yahtzee as the head of the FBI. We have a snake oil salesman heading up Medicare and Medicaid. We have an anti-vaxxer, anti-science nutjob leading the health department. And we have a former Fox News pundit leading the Pentagon. Oh, and a Russian asset as the head of intelligence. Once again, the hypocrisy is just laughable. They complain about DEI, yet that defines every single person they have appointed to this administration. However, we do see some good news. Many people are giving pushback to this administration. Many federal agencies are refusing to comply with Muskrat's demands. And he's receiving pushback from appointees of Trump himself. Agencies like the FBI, the State Department, and the Pentagon have instructed their employees to not comply, that they have to explain what they did or lose their job. Even people appointed by Trump himself are saying this is fucking ridiculous. Also, over the course of the last 3 days, I have seen multiple videos of Republican congresspeople who are facing massive backlash from their own constituents. Multiple videos of town halls and press conferences where they get booed by their own people in red districts. So despite how fast Trump and Muskrat are working, even their own voters are getting pissed at them. And this is massively going to come back to bite the Republicans in the midterms, which is where we need to further remove power from Trump by taking away the House and the Senate. Also, we still see global protests taking place in response to Trump's re-election, as well as, after a period of people being really defeated and upset about the whole thing, people in our country are protesting all over the place. We're seeing a lot of the energy that happened in 2016 and 2020 coming back as people are feeling incensed by the actions of Muskrat and Trump. There have been numerous protests of activists, teachers, students, union workers, and people are especially pissed off at their attempt to abolish the Department of Education. So while Orangina and Muskrat continue with what I call the blitzkrieg of bullshit, we have to continue remaining united. We need to resist them at every turn. Slow every single thing down, whether it's in the courts or elsewhere. Because the whole reason they're working so quickly is because they know they are running against the midterms clock. And all they're doing throughout this entire process is pissing off their constituents, which is further going to make them lose their majority in the Congress in 2 years. At least, that's my hope. All we have to do is keep our focus on the big picture and not split ourselves apart like we did before November 5th. And you all know exactly who I'm looking at. This has been We Told You So. I keep coming back to this amazing quote because we don't have to play by their bullshit rules.